Okay, guys, an American tradition. We take movies from overseas, we make it American, and we re-release it.
Better.
That's correct.
USA, USO.
I love the patriotism going on. But so let's take this 1995 movie called Evil Ed that we're doing today. Loose premise, guy edits a lot of gore and sex out of movies, and it turns him into a killer. He's doing actual reel-to-reel celluloid editing with scissors and tape. So if we were to modernize it, bring it to an American audience, put it out there for consumption, what would your spin on this take be?
Well, if it's for Americans, like Garrett alluded to, we'd need some bald eagles. There's not a single bald eagle in that whole movie.
Cue like eagle hawk sound.
I didn't see nearly enough flags, so eagles and flags.
Yeah. Check.
Oh, and the guy would have to be like editing out all liberal points from a movie.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah,
Getting
so
political already.
so he's making I don't know. Like
Bye-bye.
Some really religious people buy these movies that are kind of like the clean version of the movie. So he's making those.
They're in the Walmart section.
Yeah.
Family friendly. What's the channel that shows all the gun show stuff?
HGTV.
There you go. Yeah.
I don't think that's right.
Probably not. Oh, there's a whole NRA channel that people subscribe to. I'm saying that this could premiere there.
Fuck me.
Yeah.
Okay, whatever.
And are American. And so,
I'm sorry, the world.
So he does that.
I'm sorry too.
And then he slowly becomes crazy.
AKA liberal.
Right. And
Ooh.
and
Woke, if you will.
Exactly. But can't lose sight of this is an American movie. By going woke, he goes broke.
Yeah. Playing into the sayings.
Exactly.
I like it.
And that's the whole movie. The end.
Starring Larry the Cable Guy.
Of course.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
I like it. I think yours is pretty good. I came up with 3 loose premises here, trying to modernize it a little bit. I thought maybe we could do like a guy is having to be a forum channel moderator, and he's busy editing out all the racist bullshit.
I thought you were going to say a 4chan moderator, and I was like, he's done for.
Why not? Why not?
There's no way he's getting out of this unscathed.
Everybody on 4chan's a little fucking crazy, if you ask me anyway. But that could be one way that guy goes south. Another one I thought of is, what about a video game like streaming service where he's got to edit out all the racist and bullshit? You remember like Xbox Live back in the day? What if they tried to employ somebody to clean that up, and that could pollute his mind and turn him nuts into a... I'm saying there's a lot of racist shit on Xbox Live. Do you remember that shit?
I don't remember it. I mean, I'm not arguing with you.
Like
they're usually
COD.
7 years old, and they're yelling all obscenities that you would be like, who taught you to behave this way?
I hit a certain point where I was like, you know what I don't need anymore? A mic when I play video games, because I got tired of dealing with people. Yeah.
Don't need to talk to randos when I'm playing Gears of War or whatever.
Yeah, that's factual.
You were saying, John?
Oh yeah, well, you just need to go into like a COD public lobby, Call of Duty, and you'll get all the racism that you need.
Is it really that bad?
I don't know if it is anymore, but it has been in the past.
Oh, God.
Yeah, it was pretty bad. And I don't think they do much of anything to really moderate any of that stuff.
No.
Racist, fuck off.
Yeah, fuck you. And the third one would be... Did I already say a podcast?
No.
What about a guy who's editing a podcast like yours truly and has to edit out all of Garrett and John's nonsense? He snaps and kills his co-hosts.
Okay. Except the problem with that is Garrett and John's nonsense is like pretty much the best part.
That's true.
So
that's what we're here for.
He would be more sane than when he started.
Are you saying I would just be editing myself out and then I would edit myself out of existence?
One would say that you're making the podcast better.
Well, fuck me then. Yeah. What do you got, Garrett? Any ideas?
I misread the topic. I honestly just want the same movie, editing out the sex and violence from movies, but it's Nick Cage.
Yeah,
because he could sell this role like nobody's business. I would say for the director or the studio guy, Joe Bob Briggs.
Oh,
he kind of looks like a weird Joe Bob in a way.
He had the best accent in the whole movie. I just want the guy to narrate audiobooks. Sam Campbell, that's incredible.
Yeah,
could have been a different actor entirely, as we'll get into shortly, because this entire thing was dubbed.
Yeah.
So who knows if it was the actual actor? But.
I didn't know that. I didn't know that it was dubbed until like you guys just said that. So I thought everyone just had really shitty like voice acting. And I was like, wow, they're all just fucking swinging for the fences.
He's very articulate for barely moving his lips.
Yeah, it's a talent.
Yeah.
I think the movie premise can still hold on its own. I think that, with the way violence and sex is in, movies nowadays, there's different takes. There's more modern takes we could take on that situation, especially how the climate's changed just a tad on some of these. The sex stuff is still there. The sex taboo is still there. People still freak out when you see a titty, but I'm sorry, a breast.
That's right.
And so
No reason to freak people.
but the violence aspect, there's some good social commentary that could be had there, especially if this is Americanized, how we don't bat an eye at insanely gory graphic stuff. But I mean, heaven forbid someone be naked.
That's right. Or get raped by a beaver right out.
Oh,
I'd shoot him with a bazooka if that happened.
but I don't know. I mean, I think all of your ideas are actually pretty good, like, modern or, variations on it. I would watch all those if it was like this type of film.
Shudder, we're always here. We've got the ideas. Maybe
Shudder, don't worry. We'll edit out all Mark's stuff before we present it to you, so you're good to go.
My life is meaningless.
Them request the mampy bigger than me auntie with the Oprah Winfrey panty. Yeah, had a mercy. When we look on the oversized woman, them and say, watch this. The donut lady is back in town. She used to be slim, but now her belly is round. If you see her run her down, you never know when she'll be back in town.
Hey, all you creatures from cyberspace. Thanks for joining us on another episode of the Grave Talk podcast. My name is Mark, and I'm going to do this weird kind of inflection on this because I'm changing it up. Just kidding. I'm here with John and Garrett. As usual, we're back for another recording. How we doing, fellas?
Kind of sleepy.
I'm fucking devastatedly tired.
Yeah. So, audience, expect a real high energy podcast coming at you.
Well, I'm caffeinated and I'm ready to go.
Yeah. I pounded some caffeine before I left. So, in like 20 minutes when it kicks in, you'll probably see my just energy levels, slightly rise. Actually, I'm so numb to caffeine.
5 minutes from now, Mark's like, this is Casey Kasem. He's just like, oh, God.
And the Top 40 Countdown. Well, what have you guys been up to since last time?
Watching movies, being too fucking cool for our own good.
Are we?
The use.
Wow, Mark, I'm fucking building us up and you're just bringing us down. You know what? Don't worry. We'll edit them out. Don't worry, audience.
I suffer from low self-esteem. I just try not to show it.
Yeah.
And low T. And
You take that back. My testosterone is fine. No, we're pretty cool. I don't know if anybody knows.
Yeah.
I'm glad to hear that I'm a cool guy. And I mean, same old stuff. Been playing some more Resident Evil, getting footage of that.
Yeah.
Little update for our listeners, real quick. We're recording on Texas Frightmare weekend. Guys, I'm sorry I was not able to go. Pandemic is in full stupidity here in Texas, so I had to skip it. So I see everyone posting pictures of meeting Tom Atkins, and I'm extremely jealous, but I rolled my tickets over, so I will be at Frightmare Texas 2022. So I'll see you then. Hopefully they have some amazing guests. But I apologize. I won't have any updates on Frightmare this year because I value my safety a little bit more than, I don't know, mingling with famous people.
It's
Tony Todd.
Bold of you to...
God, Tony Todd's going to be there. Damn it. I'm so upset by this. Thanks, Texas.
Thomas Atkins.
Yes.
Bold of you to assume that 2022 won't have like Delta 2, the return.
I feel confident that by
Return
that
to the
point,
Mac.
either enough dumb people will be dead or we'll have this shit at least mildly under control.
I'm ready to see what COVID 69 420 looks like.
Oh, we're not ready for that. We don't have the
He's
technology.
spitting racist stuff in a Call of Duty chat room.
It's like I'm 22 again. No, I was not the racist. Please don't put me in that box. I've seen a lot of images on Instagram as well. Some great cosplay as usual. Probably the standout one that I saw was someone dressed up like the door from The Shining with it cut out and his head sticking out of it with red rum written on it.
I've seen that one. That one was good.
I was like, that's a nice touch.
Well done.
Sorry, I would have loved to have gone after, thinking about it. We were kind of mulling on it before the pandemic is like, we've kind of seen it. But just to get out and do something that was kind of normal and get to check stuff out again sounds like such a good idea. But we're not there yet as a country. A lot of people want to be. But the other half of the country, just get your damn shots so we can try it out and try to be normal again, please.
Yeah.
So for 2022, then me and John can decide if we want to go based on content, not on a virus.
Yeah, or location, really. I don't know.
Location is a big deal.
Yeah, I don't know if I'll ever feel comfortable in a crowded, like, subterranean basement again.
In the basement of the Hilton.
Yeah.
Well, they did a good job of like spreading it out. Like it was actually throughout the almost the whole hotel. after to try to again shout out to Texas Frightmare. I still personally question holding large events like this right now, but I understand from financial reasons they're probably not getting refunded by their insurance and stuff like that and tickets, and I don't know. I guarantee there's way more that goes into it than I know about, but they did really try to accommodate and make it, in a much more open space, put it in all different areas so it's less crowded as it was previously. So, again, I'm just a little bummed out I didn't get to go. There's a lot of people there that I'd really like to meet. I don't know if I get to meet Tony Todd or fucking Tom Atkins ever again. That dude, no offense, Tom, looking pretty old, so I'm a little worried I'm not going to get to meet him in time. But I hope he lives for like 40 more years.
Yeah. Well, as long as people are thrilling him, he'll be all right.
Oh, man.
The man lives by the thrills.
That's it. Feeds off of them.
He lives to thrill.
Well, I've been rewatching all of the Tales from the Crypts. And they
Good choice.
No,
No?
they definitely don't hold up as well as like I thought in my imagination that they did. They're very cheesy. Some are better than others, but then they're all like you probably were not meant to watch like 20 of these in a row. But when you do, you realize every one of them is the same plot. It's just like a morality tale, right? Someone does something really bad and then finds some sort of ironically bad thing happens to them because of that.
Well, that's kind of horror movies in general, but yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, but I mean, it's very obvious and super
they were pretty
condensed.
heavy-handed, yeah.
But, probably do like a quickie of my favorite ones when I get through the whole series.
I'd like to hear what those are because I remember a few of them quite vividly with a lot of guest stars. So I'm excited to see what you kind of like, what stuck out to you.
Yeah, there's a lot of famous people I forgot are in that.
The two that stick in my mind is the one where the cop was escorting a prisoner via handcuff through the desert, and he has to chop his hand off after the cop dies. Ooh. And then he's wandering through the desert, and a vulture pecks his eye out.
Okay.
And then the pilot was pretty good, the guy on death row.
Yeah, that one was good. I've seen, there's been an Arnold cameo. Demi Moore was in one. The mom from Married with Children.
Tom Arnold was in it?
Tom Arnold, I think I've seen. The mom from Married with Children was in there. Lots of B actors, like the kind of people who are like, oh shit, you're like in every movie.
Yeah, a lot of really good character actors are in. Like, man, that's the next thing is it. But to be fair, as cheesy as it was, I always remember it delivering at least what it promised.
Yeah, they've been enjoyable.
I think you touched on something that is interesting, though, the binging aspect of a program that was never intended to be so, and how that affects our enjoyment of it long term.
Yeah. If I were watching these once a week, but then it would take me 7 years to get through them all. But watching them a lot in a row, you're like, oh, I'm definitely picking up the themes here.
I feel like a good parallel would be the show on Shudder right now, the remake of the
Creep Show.
Thank you. The coffee's wearing off. Yeah, the Creep Show. And those release once a week. Are you watching any of those at all?
I watched season 1 and 2, I think. Is there more?
It's 2 seasons so far.
Okay, yeah, then I've watched those. Those are good. I like those.
So I wonder if you binge those, would you feel the same way? Because a lot of those are cheesy too.
That's true. Probably. Yeah, you probably would feel the same way. And then I watched *Malignant* on HBO Max, the new James Wan film.
Yeah, brand new.
Really, really good. I like that one. I know it's like divisive, but I was a fan, and it was just cool to see something different and new. So I liked it.
Do you want to give us just a loose premise here so people know what to expect?
Well, let me describe it the way Alex, because Alex watched it. I haven't watched it yet.
Who's Alex? Jones?
No, definitely not.
Friend of the podcast, Mark.
Friend of the podcast, my amazingly beautiful, fantastic girlfriend.
That Alex, okay.
She watched it and she said that it was fast-paced, really wild, and she's not sure if she liked it. So she said it was very interesting, super gory, not as scary as previous James Wan stuff, but it was very gory and like really kind of like bam, 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 like some crazy shit happened.
Yeah, the gore is intense, and like the last 40 minutes are like a fucking roller coaster. Like makes
That's a long roller coaster.
It's incredible. It is so good. For folks who've seen it, like they'll know when it starts at like the jail and goes to the end of the movie is like nonstop. But it's like a police procedural type movie where there's like paranormal murder shit happening and they're trying to figure out who it is. And then it's
okay. See, that's never explained in the fucking trailer.
Yeah, I wouldn't have picked that up either.
The paranormal police part, like never.
Oh,
like,
they're regular police.
No, I know, but like it doesn't talk about like let's solve these paranormal murders or anything like that. It's like if they had said that in the trailer, I'd be much more. I'd be like, oh, I'm in because I love that kind of stuff. But
now I'm wondering, is there any movies with ghost cops?
R.I.P.D.
Oh, they were dead. You're right.
Yeah.
Okay. Jeff Bridges. Yeah. Okay. Checks out.
All right.
I'm excited to see it based off like how everyone's kind of describing it. Like they're making it sound like it's not like fantastic. Like you're not gonna like be like, you guys have got to see this. But the way they describe it is like they're like, it's pretty fucking nuts, man. And it's like hits, bam, 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 bam. And I'm like, okay, I get down with that. That's not usually what we see from James Wan. We usually see a little bit of a more slow burn.
Yeah, he said in some interview he was sick of doing PG-13 films. So that's why this one is so gory.
I'm sick of that too.
Yeah.
All right, well, check it out. It's on HBO Max now and the theaters. Was
Yes,
it a
and in
simultaneous?
theaters,
Okay. If you got HBO Max, no reason not to check it out. And you're recommending?
Absolutely.
Right on. So today's episode, we're doing a listener request all the way from Sweden from Johan. He hit us up on Instagram and had some nice things to say about the podcast. And he asked that we do one called Evil Ed.
Hear that, listeners? The way to get your request on is to suck up to us. We're not above pandering, and damn it works.
100% of the time, it works every time. But no, Evil Ed is what we're doing today. It's a Swedish film that was made for basically no money. It shows.
No, it's the high budget. The effects, outstanding. 17 different times you show the outside of the house and it's the exact same scene.
Yeah.
I mean great.
You only do that with a budget, right?
No, that's money.
So he sent us a little bit about the film that I did want to read because I think the context of the film helps to a degree. If you go in blind, you're just like, what is this nonsense before me? It's silly. It's fun. I don't hate the movie, but man, is it barely a movie.
Well,
at times.
Yeah. I mean, I would classify it as a movie. It hits 24 frames every second, nonstop. It is, 93 minutes or so long. So
It's getting the basics out of the way.
check.
Okay.
Color for some of it.
I don't eat this much gummy bears to not pull my weight. So I did a little research.
Yeah.
And this was actually a short film that over the course of 5 years was turned into a movie.
Oh.
So there was things added, there was things removed, which I want to know what was removed because holy crap.
What doesn't make the cut for this movie?
Look, if the kitchen sinks in it, I have to wonder what they took out. But yeah, so this was like a low budget short film that became this large expanded product. So I mean, it kind of explains why it feels kind of disjointed.
Right. And the movie was made, according to Johan, that it was in response to Swedish film censorship. And I'll just read him verbatim here. So he says, basically, during time in Sweden, there was huge debates going on regarding violence in movies, like other countries. We're familiar with the video nasties and the Margaret Thatcher laws in the UK that banned a lot of movies.
How you doing, Maggie?
Boo! Boo the censors.
Yeah. You take something away, you forbid something, you make it more lucrative, and people are going to seek it out. That's just how that works.
They ruined for all the Friday 13 movies, ruined them all.
Cut them up. But yeah, over in Sweden, they were being censored because there was a belief that it made people violent. Due to this, violent movies were censored to the extent of pretty much being unwatchable. It wasn't just some smooth re-editing. It was just straight up jump cut ahead to when the violent scene ended.
That's awesome.
That's terrible. But that's what Johan said. And he said this was basically made for about a $25,000 budget, and it's one of his favorite horror comedies.
I can only assume 24,000 of that budget was spent on the cool gremlin troll dinosaur puppets.
The refrigerator beast?
Yeah.
Oh, it's a wannabe gremlin, straight up. It says bright light when it first opens the fridge door.
Oh, absolutely. At first I was like, what? This is a gremlin gizmo thing. And
Yeah.
it looked just like one.
Well, because they spent all their money on it.
Yeah, I think they just had that laying around somewhere.
Maybe.
I think a lot of these props were reused.
It's really just that
If
guy's
Garrett
house.
said they were making shit for 5 years. I'm sure a lot of this was just laying around some dude's garage.
Probably.
So that being said, I think that keep in mind, if listener you decide to watch Evil Ed, that is a satire on film censorship. It definitely feels like a film that's been made by fans of the genre. Oh my God, there are so many references and so many horror movie posters in this thing. Yep. I was like, Jesus, I don't know if I've ever seen a movie that just blatantly shows other better work in it like this one. But sure enough, I mean, just to rattle off a few, we saw there's a Critters poster, there's a Bram Stoker's Dracula poster, Evil Dead 2. The name of the title could even be a nod to Evil Dead, Evil Ed.
It must be, I'd assume. Yeah.
That according to the trivia, it's a reference to Evil Dead.
Yeah, we've got POV Evil Dead cam going through a house at one point. I was like, okay, now we're just doing Evil Dead. We've got Kindred. We've got Night of the Living Dead. He says the titular, I'm coming to get you, Barbara. Or they're coming to get you, Barbara.
That was so heavy-handed.
I know. And as soon as they said her name, Barbara, I was like, I know what they're doing.
Yep.
Cherry 2000. I mean, Near Dark. There was a damn Near Dark poster.
Yes,
in the thing.
Speaking of, come on, fucking Vinegar Syndrome. Give me my goddamn Near Dark already.
Yeah, talk about a vampire movie I'm ready to redo for the podcast.
Redo? We haven't done it.
Oh, right. Well, that's what I meant.
Yeah, redo it for the first time.
Yeah, so some of the stuff I found out was Sweden had a policy of not just like, oh, that's graphic, or any sex or violence just got straight up cut. Like, it wasn't like you said, like smooth at all. It was just cut it, clip it, move on. All the voices in the movie, the American version, I think in any of the versions outside of Sweden, were dubbed by people at Bandit Radio, an English-speaking radio station in Stockholm. So just the people there did the voiceovers for that stuff. It's not credited, but Bill Moseley supposedly did the voice of the narrator in the Loose Limbs trailers.
Now, Loose Limbs is the in-movie universe film that they're working on, the franchise that the studio's producing.
Another case where the movie shows us a better movie.
Based on that girl getting her foot chopped off, I want to see Loose Limbs 1 through 9 right now.
Ridiculous.
That look great. Speaking about the censorship, Garrett, some of the films I looked up to see what was on their list. I don't know if you saw any of these, but Mad Max made the cut. That one got censored and banned. Texas Chainsaw, The Next Generation, which we did. The final film that was apparently edited by the Swedish movie censor board called the Statens Bibliografriga. I butchered that. Sorry, Sweden, but I can't speak Swedish. Casino.
Oh.
Casino was the last movie they edited and censored.
They probably cut that down like 25 minutes long, I assume.
Yeah.
Also a movie that starred Joe Bob Briggs.
Good point. You're right. He's in there.
Starred. He was
Cameoed.
in it. Yes, cameoed. Yeah. Co-starred, if you will.
That'd be a way different Casino if Joe Bob
love
was
it.
the star. But ultimately, the Swedish censorship board was shut down in 2011.
They must have taken a long hiatus if they didn't officially shut down the 2011, but Casino was the last one they edited.
From what I could tell, that there was a lot of political issues back and forth. So while they weren't really doing anything, they also didn't want to disband it quite yet.
Okay.
But then they finally reached an agreement to get rid of it entirely. So now your movies, you can do whatever in Sweden, just like everywhere else about it.
And the explosion in violence has been pronounced.
Sweden, #1 in violence, correct?
That's what I understand.
Globally?
It is literally Thunderdome.
It's not here?
No, definitely not. No. When you think violent country, you're like, Sweden, definitely.
And it was fault of the cinema.
Yeah.
And we joke, but there's still a bunch of crazy bullshit all over the world where people censor and edit stuff. I mean, what was the Kevin Smith film Dogma still can't get a fucking re-release because the Catholics freaked the fuck out over it. I mean, there's just so much weird censorship all over the world based off political pull, but it's weird that Sweden has such a heavy hand with it. It was just not even trying to let's kind of edit this little part out. It was no, just scene gone. I was like, wow, that's pretty intense.
There's always a portion of the population that when a new medium arrives, that they don't understand it quite, and they just assume that it's going to affect the minds of all children everywhere, be it comic books, music, video games, movies. And I don't think there's any evidence to support any of it. Going back to all those mediums, I don't think it turns people into violent murderers.
I would agree.
I would say there's evidence to support that people who may be affected with these type of behavior issues and stuff like that, who may do fucked up stuff, may gravitate towards certain types of media that they can relate to or feel connected to in ways. And maybe some of that stuff is a little more ultra violent, ultra edgy type shit. But I don't think there's ever been a definitive study that shows this stuff straight up causes that. But
yeah, you're correct. They want to blame the content and not the person's psyche.
But it will desensitize you though. I'm proof of that. Fucking horror movies alone, man.
Film, I feel like if I saw someone's head explode in real life, it would still fuck me up. I've seen it a million times
definitely.
in film, but
yeah, definitely.
I mean, the evening news desensitizes you to violence. It's all their show.
But desensitization, I don't know if that's a word, but it is now, doesn't inherently lead to any acts of anything. I'm still get squeamish when I cut my finger with a butter knife, I'm just ugh. I don't think I could ever go crazy out there just because I've seen a ton of horror movies or played violent video games. I'm still just I was like, get a cup, get a paper. We're taking this bug outside, you know? Like, just violence still weirds me out. But like when it's like that, I don't know. This is a whole topic.
It is a whole topic, and we don't have to talk. I think we've touched on it pretty well. But yeah, censorship's got to stop. We need everything to be open and free. Let people judge it on their own accord, and let's get mental health revitalization going on. That's going to help the violence.
Grave Talk with the hot takes. Censorship is bad.
Certain types of censorship, because we are going to edit all Mark's parts out.
Well, right. No, Mark censorship, that's like highly encouraged. Turn that shit to 11.
Make it a law. Edit me out of everything.
Never has the globe been reunited as one front. It's like We Are the World of like, we need to get rid of Mark.
Oh, I'm just getting dogged on today, man.
That's what happens when you have the most energy.
I know.
The two tired people.
Well, you're knocking it out of me, one gut punch at a time.
That's it.
With our powers combined, John, we have the energy of a sleepy dog.
All right, that's enough out of you. Let's get into today's movie, Evil Ed from 1995. This one was directed by Anders Jacobsen, stars Johan Rudbeck. I think it was the same Johan that asked us to do the movie.
Oh, shit.
Johan, are you in this movie?
I swear to God, if it's Johan from this movie and you didn't let us know so we could get you on for like an interview, bro, you missed the damn boat.
I'll tell you what, if there's one thing I know, Johan, not a common name in
Not
Sweden.
at all. It's not the Browns.
No. Very unique name.
And if Johan, you know Johan from this movie, hook it up, man. We'll do a short. We'll interview this dude.
It's like 7 degrees to Johan.
We're two away from
That's
Johan.
it.
Johan Rudbeck is Edward Eddie, in parentheses Eddie, the titular Evil Ed. Per Lofberg as Nick. Olaf Roden as Sam Campbell. Fun fact, Sam Raimi, Bruce Campbell, Sam Campbell. That's where that name comes from.
No.
Oh, another
You mean
reference?
with all the Evil Dead references? Oh, boy.
My man carries the movie too, so he's putting his name to good use.
Camilla Learth as Mel. I'm going to say these names, but I don't quite know them from the movies. Gert Fleiking as SWAT Team Lieutenant. Celia Lung as Barbara. Dan Malmer as Zip.
I don't remember Zip.
Kim Solaki as Dix. Goran Lundstrom as Bondage Face.
Bondage Face.
I
He was
think
like,
that's the one that visit him in his weird dreams.
kind of like a clown thing going on. Yeah.
Terrifier's dad.
Robert Droz as Fridge Fritz. And Bill Moseley as the voice of the loose limb killer. Currently on Rotten Tomatoes, this one is unrated by the critics.
That's hard to believe.
Is it?
Yeah. No, not at all. Well, I mean, what are the Swedish critics reviewing?
I don't know. It's all in Swedish. I can't read it.
They weren't allowed to at the time.
Oh,
I'm just
yeah.
kidding. I have no idea.
I guess there is a Swedish Rotten Tomatoes version, right? Probably.
But wouldn't they also be in the American Rotten? Let's really figure this out on the podcast right now.
Let's get Rotten Tomato on the phone. Mr. Tomato. Audience score of 49%. I think that seems...
Astonishingly low. I know.
All right, you.
You're not reading it backwards?
No,
Oh, okay.
94%. No, I'm not dyslexic.
I would quit the goddamn podcast if it was at 94%. I feel like I have no faith in horror movies anymore.
Here's what the back of the VHS has to say about Evil Ed.
Easy good, connect to them. Drive phones, easy good, connect to them. Drive phones, easy good, connect to them. Drive phones, now hear the word of the Lord. Well, the toe.
I love at the top in big red font it says, "Warning, not for the faint of heart."
Unlike most movies, faint of heart friendly.
He's eerie. He's Ed-citable. And his temper is Ed-splosive.
Oh,
Hold on,
geez.
stop. Did you just fucking say Ed-citable?
I did.
Oh, God, I'm done.
He's Evil Ed. From the bowels of the movie studio editing room, the demons that inhabit the world's most gory movies scramble Ed's brain until he starts butchering more than the scenery. His rampage of exploding heads and flying limbs make this gore fest truly splatterific. That's it.
Yeah, so there's only 2 sentences. They still managed to fuck it up because he's not in the movie studio editing room. They make a big point about him being in a separate house.
Good point. But that doesn't read well on the back of a box if you're trying to get somebody in there. It's like, he's an editor, but he's not in the studio.
Yeah.
He's in a house 10 miles away.
My question is, though, is they fucking made the word Ed-citing, but did they actually, when they put editor, put ED in capital letters?
Oh, they missed out.
Editor. Get it? It's literally in the fucking name. I started saying fucking a lot. I'm going to go ahead and tone that down a little bit. I don't want to get this whole scene chopped out by the
Oh, it's
Swedish.
gone by the splatter and gore department. That's the that I love.
Sweden, we love you, baby.
The whole star of this movie, I was like, oh, I am here for whatever this is. And it kind of lost me a little bit throughout. But overall, I think it was fun, and I would probably put it in the recommend pile.
Yeah. Now, do you think this movie would be any different if it was called Evil Edward?
It'd be British.
Well, yeah, I was thinking maybe it'd be like a turn of the century type thing.
That'd be Evil Edwin.
Oh, yeah.
What would he be editing, though, at the turn of the century?
Novels. You just rip pages out.
Dirty Boudoir magazine.
He goes to the freaking printing press.
Yeah.
What was it called? The original one?
Gutenberg.
The Gutenberg
Yeah.
press, and he's pulling letters off of the
Like just whole broadsheets.
plates,
Like, why does
yeah.
this go from 1 to 5? Oh, yeah, you can't see the intermediate pages.
There's another idea. Shutter, get at us.
Yeah, this could be a whole anthology. Evil editors.
I like it. Well, what do you guys think about this movie?
I really like it. Now, I'm going to say I don't think it's not a good movie. It is not well acted. The plot, total gibberish, but it's like so much fun. And it obviously doesn't take itself serious. And I think it was made by someone who really loves horror movies. And was just like, I'm only going to get one shot to make a movie, and I better put all of my favorite things in this movie. And it's just unabashedly.
If you had one shot.
That's right. Mom Spaghetti was all over him when he was editing this film. So I highly recommend. I enjoyed it a lot, but it is bad.
This is one of those movies where like I feel like I should like it more for what it's done, but I just didn't enjoy it. I respect a lot about it. The special effects for the budget, astounding. Hearing that it took 5 years is also very impressive. Like that is definitely at that point, it's a labor of love. John, to your point, this person definitely cares about horror movies. He loves the horror, genre. It's his love letter and his own little statement on what his government did to those things that he loved. But that being said, it is very clearly multiple scenes that have been filled at random times, plot devices and plot, parts that have been written at random times, put together. I don't know. I would be hard pressed to say that I had a good time watching it, but I can appreciate what I watched. Yep. I don't know if I'd recommend it, honestly. Like I don't feel comfortable recommending this one.
Let me put a little asterisk next to my recommendation. I think
you said ass.
I did, and I'll do it again. Just watch. You got to be a horror fan to watch this.
Yeah.
I don't think anybody outside of the genre would enjoy this in the least, even for its satire of the censorship and all that stuff. Like you got to really want to like bad movies first off, and horror movies second. If you enjoy those things, I would say check it out.
When it's heavy-handed in that aspect too, like the bad parts of the movie are very intentionally, in my opinion, designed to be over the top bad. I wouldn't say like intentionally bad, but like the studio head, Sam Campbell, which I'm just going to call Scramble from here on out because it's going to be easier.
So his friends call him. So,
Okay.
yeah.
Scramble. He's grabbing girls' asses in his chair, like by the handfuls.
So
like,
gross.
He's like, how many more ass cheeks can I get in this one hand? Put them in there, baby. But the thing is his over the top character and stuff like that. Like there's a lot of parody in this, to the point of, is parody the right word?
Satire.
Okay, I'm sorry.
I mean, the first thing that you have to adjust to is that this movie exists outside of a normal universe. Like, there's no way that this film tries to replicate real life in any way.
Right, which is why it doesn't bother me, because it is so out there and that it never takes itself serious. So the absolute, nonsensical continuity, the superpowers that Ed just randomly gets.
Oh, that was one of my biggest questions. I was like, does watching horror movies make you a goddamn Hulk?
This movie makes no sense at all, and it never tries, and it never promises to make sense.
That is, and that is why I think I made it through without wanting to turn it off, because I was like, it knows what it is.
Yeah.
It never gave me a false sense of this is supposed to be a dope, rad, real movie. This is just, I've chosen to use this medium to say a bunch of things and do a bunch of things visually. And kudos to him. He did.
Yeah. What it reminds me of is in the 80s, they used to cut up different kung fu movies, combine them into one movie. So it'd be one movie made from the parts of 3 different movies. It kind of has that feel to it.
The guy that did American Ninja did that.
Yeah.
I don't remember that guy's name, but man, the guy did Hard Ticket to Hawaii.
I love those. I was trying to find because this movie was re-released by Arrow Video. There's a Blu-ray out there you can pick up for $20 at the time of recording on Amazon.
It's the Evil Edition.
Nice.
Or the special edition. That's what it is.
Yeah.
It's also free on YouTube. I found that out. And Tubi.
Yeah. Well, I picked it up on a sale for $3. I think it's worth the $3. So
I do too. I will say that. I bought the Arrow sale on iTunes also, and I would say I'm glad I own it for $3. If I spent more than that, I'd be a little less thrilled.
But the Blu-ray has a lot of special features added in. They go talk to the director and the guys that made the film. I couldn't really find any clips from that, but from what I read from reviews, they said they went into this movie with no script. And
it shows.
Yeah.
Really? This movie?
Can you believe it? Also, the reviewer that was reviewing the Blu-ray said that the director said that they traded bottles of liquor for the camera that they shot the film with.
Okay.
So the passion is there.
Yeah. This is like
We're getting this movie made, you guys. Evil Ed is happening in 1990. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Mm-hmm. That's tremendous. I think, you can really tell it's a labor of love. That's why I recommend it.
And there was a lot of talk about the stress of the post-editing. And as we mentioned, everything is dubbed.
Yeah.
The voices and the sound effects. And I'm like, wait, why?
The sound effects too?
Yes, everything. And I'm just looking at this and
why? I'll tell you why. Because they didn't have a Foley artist.
Yeah.
They didn't have a boom mic sound person at all.
Did you notice how loud the foot stomps were throughout the entire movie? It's like, there's no way those shoes are making that kind of noise. But
when things would slide across like the floor, it was like whoosh, and I was just like, what is this Looney Tunes shit? But again, it kind of felt normal in this world, like to what John said. Even the most bizarre things just felt like they belonged here.
Right. In the filmography, the cinematography, everything is shot with a blue gel throughout the entire of the movie. Somebody just got their hands on it, like a spotlight and some gels, and like, we're going to light this place up.
Well, they put it on the light and then it damaged it and they couldn't get it off. So
it melted on there.
Yeah.
That's what happens. But yeah, what is it when you watch something CG and it doesn't look real? Is that the Mandela effect?
Uncanny Valley.
No, that's the Uncanny Valley.
What is the Mandela effect?
The Mandela, where you think like the social consciousness believes something that never existed.
Okay, that's Evil Ed, right? It doesn't really exist.
I hope it exists.
Okay, so the Uncanny Valley effect, when you see CG and it's not real and your brain knows it, that's what I was dealing with the dubbed sounds of this movie. Like, it kept distracting me to the point. It's like, okay, my favorite absolute dub voice of the entire movie is Mr. Captain of the fucking army who comes into the hospital.
The best, dude. That's the best
Like, somebody's like, hey, Swedish dude, do your best John Wayne.
Be careful out there, Captain. He's extremely dangerous.
Affirmative. You heard the man. Are you ready to kick some ass, girls?
Yes, sir! We love to kick ass, sir!
Nice tie.
Oh my God, that guy was hammy as shit. I loved it.
At first, I thought his cigar was CG, but then I was like, "There's no way they had any money for CG in this." But because he's talking like full open mouth, and his cigar's not falling out, and I was just like, "That is the most impressive thing I've ever seen." He's like, "All right, men, let's go," and this thing's just holding its perfect like still position in the open mouth area, and I'm like. It moves a little bit, but it looks like it's just holding its position. I was like, oh, that's amazing.
Yeah, that's just sheer testosterone
That
holding
guy,
that there.
And the thing is they don't make a point of showing you them being called. Like, it's just like out of nowhere, the military just walks into this hospital and it's like, all right, boys, let's do what we're here to do. And I was like, what is that?
Yeah, but like the military is just like a bunch of like 20-year-olds in very
special
ill-fitting,
forces, yeah.
like jumpsuits.
It's like the director's neighborhood friends who just happened to see him filming that day. The movie was all shot mostly in an abandoned hospital that was closed down a few years prior to this.
Years prior? Which year was that? Because it was filmed over 5 years, Mark.
Well, I know when it opened, and that was in 1895, so that was an old-ass hospital.
Oh, I would not be able to do it.
No.
Yeah,
I
a
think
lot of
it's
lead
spooky.
paint. Oh, maybe that's why Evil Ed is evil.
Well, I wonder if that was one of the plot points that got written in later on. Like, oh my God, this hospital shut down. Guys, I've got an idea.
Do you think, so let's say that I hadn't read our note from listener Johan about it being a satire about censorship. Would you have gotten that from the movie on its own? You know, when we talked about Candyman, when we didn't really like how when the artist has to over-explain the work, it means you may have failed with the art piece. So
Well, that was one person's opinion on Candyman, but yes.
What do you think about that, looking at it through that lens with Evil Ed?
No, I would have thought that this was an anti-horror movie and that it was saying if you watch all of these evil scenes, you will become evil, because that is effectively what if anything, this movie comes across pro-censorship.
Like that 60s anti-marijuana movie.
Reefer Madness.
Yeah, this is like the Reefer Madness of horror movies, right? Like, don't do it or you'll turn up like Evil Ed.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
This is what they show in school to be like, yeah, if you don't want to be Evil Ed, don't be, you could be good Ed.
I wonder if something's lost in the overdub translation of this film.
Okay, here's the thing.
I don't know. It seemed pretty obvious to me what they were going for, but I don't think you could miss that it was satire. I mean, everything was overly heavy-handed. I mean, every character is their character to an 11. I would say, even when we meet Nick, I was about to say Nick is the only, like, somewhat believable character, but when we first meet him watching Loose Limbs 4 or whatever, and he's all like he pops up and like they turn the light on, he's like, nothing, Mr. Sir. Oh, sick, that's bloody. Nothing. We're okay in here. And I was like, dude, what is at that point I knew no one was going to be normal. I don't know. I think it did a good job of like, if I didn't have that history of it, I think I still would have understood what they were going for.
I would agree. Like, I understand it's a satire on horror. I would not have picked up on the censorship part. Like that it was anti-censorship. I think that got lost somewhere. But maybe that was just a lot for a movie with no script.
Well, Scarface or whatever that character's name is, kind of
Scarface.
Bondage face. There's no bondage on his face though.
Well, it was bandage. Maybe it's meant to be bandage face.
Okay.
No, I'm sure it says bondage face, but also I'm sure nobody.
Mark looked really hard at the screen, like to make sure he didn't make a mistake. That's the.
I'm also sure nobody was proofreading the credits or the character names or.
I don't know. I feel like it was pretty. It was identifiable enough to be like, what are you doing? You're going too crazy with all this. But I wouldn't have gotten this is what Sweden was doing at the time kind of thing. I definitely would have gotten to like we have to cut this. Okay, you're right. You know what? It is kind of like come across as pro-censorship.
Yeah.
I think if I had picked this up when it came out, Mark, at 14 or however, 14 in 1995, I wouldn't have picked up on the message. I would have read the back of the box, which says nothing about the satirical nature of this film.
No.
And just would have watched this bonkers fucking movie about a guy who loses his mind after editing movies.
Yeah, no, you're right. The more I think about it, it's like I can make all these reasons of why, like, oh, no, it's definitely totally satire. Then I'm like, but yeah, it doesn't really blatantly, like, point out, like, this is bad. Maybe we shouldn't be,
Yeah, maybe, like, they would have needed something where the edited movies are somehow causing people to be violent, like, oh, we show them in a maximum security prison and people get so frustrated and they riot. I don't know, I'm just riffing here, but some way to be like, look, even showing edited movies, people are still violent. Like, just some way to sync that together.
If Evil Ed is an 11 after watching so much concentrated gore and violence, then there should have been like a 5. Right. Somewhere in there, right?
Yeah,
Nick should have done something because he watched those movies as a casual viewer. He should have basically been like, "Let me take this body out for you, Mr. Ed." Like been okay with Ed killing Scrambles, Sam Campbell. That would have. Yeah, you're right. That would have made a little more sense. And then the wife could have been the Puritan, kind of like, "What are you doing?"
Yeah, exactly. Well, let's get into the plot a little bit and try to at least because I stopped writing notes.
It's going to take us 5 years to get through this.
Yeah, I stopped taking notes. I was like, because this doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, my notes were like, oh, that was a cool edit. But I was like, oh, I'm not going to remember what this means because it's all gibberish.
Yeah. So the movie starts off with an in-house, when I say in-house, in-studio editor that had blockaded himself into the editing bay where he's just chopping film with scissors. He's lost his mind. And they take a blowtorch and they have to cut the door down to get in. And when they get in, he has a hand grenade.
Well, Mark, I think you're underselling his craziness. This man is full Daffy Duck Looney Tunes, talking in different voices. And oh man, the moment I saw that, I was like, oh, we're in for a treat.
And he pulls the pin and in walks Sam Campbell, Scrambles. And he's like, what are you doing?
Put that down.
Put that down. And sure enough, puts it down. Blows himself to pieces.
The way he says it, I was like, don't make me come over there. And it's like, the motherfucker's got a grenade.
That's the last thing you want to do. You want to go away from them. But horror movie watching death number 1 for its editor, out of his mind from all that horror.
Correct. If you expose yourself to unregulated horror, this is what happens.
That's it.
You become a violent, nasty man who blows people up with grenades.
Scrambles doesn't have any side effects either.
He doesn't watch them, really.
No, he does, because he knew about the beaver fucking rape scene.
Yeah, that's true.
Bazooka rape scene? I don't remember what it was.
He's built his tolerance up. You can't just start with the pure uncut shit.
You can't go in there cold turkey?
Yeah, you got to dilute that a little bit and work your way up, you know?
Okay.
Sam calling Edward. Come in, Edward. We have some serious business to discuss.
I'm listening.
I want you to answer a simple question. Can you do that for me? And tell me this. Where in the fuck is my beaver rape scene?
It's out, of course.
Are you nuts? That scene's worth a fortune. Oh, my God. This guy's a couple of cans short of a six-pack.
But it's a disgusting scene.
Make a note. Beaver rape clip stays in the film.
Yeah, beaver raping, man. Honestly, I respect that this movie really brought that social issue to light. That is a big, big problem in Sweden. Tremendous amounts of beaver rape.
Not only are they damming your wells and your lakes and your ravines.
Your wells?
Yeah, they're in there.
They're everywhere. You turn. You can't.
I'm sorry. I don't want to be that guy who was like going to nitpick that down. It's like, how the fuck do you dam a well?
Wait, good question. You build the dam on top of it. So you go with your bucket, bam, all you're doing is hitting wood.
Them beavers are at it again. God damn it.
You can't throw a rock without hitting a beaver in Sweden. It is a serious dilemma.
It's rotten with them.
So there's an opening. Surprise, surprise. The last guy who had the job blew himself up.
Well, he blows himself up and blood splatters as if like a bucket threw like fake blood on Scrambles. And he just takes his finger and wipes it off his glasses and is like, damn it.
Gonna need a new editor.
We lost another one. And it was like, that's when I knew. I was like, oh, okay, none of this is supposed to be serious. Like, I appreciate the movie letting me know right out the gate, though, that this was the level we were going to be at.
And what level is that?
Like 75.
Yeah, way off the charts.
I would put it at a Puppet Master Full Moon level. Like if you've seen any movies by the company Full Moons, that's about where this movie hovers.
It's like a chopping mall situation.
No,
I'd say it's lower. Sub chopping mall.
Chopping Mall is way more.
No, I would watch this movie over Chopping Mall.
Okay, then you've led me into a question that I have to ask you now.
Yes, tell me.
Why is it that this movie resonates with you so much more than, say, a chopping mall or a death spa?
Good question, Mark. I thought about this because Mark was really flummoxed that I like this movie.
Flummoxed.
Flummoxed?
Is that how they say it in Sweden?
Yes. Guess that caffeine's kicking in. He was really flummoxed that I like this movie. And I think it's because it doesn't take itself seriously. It doesn't even try to be a movie. Whereas like it's just
I'm over here not trying.
Yeah.
Watch me.
It's like okay, here's so it's like the
Mom, look at me.
Yeah.
Over here. Mom.
It's like the Ralph Wiggum of movies, and I really respect that. It's like it's just
Well, I don't choose this one, okay?
but Death Spawn, Chopping Mall, they like try to pretend that they take place in this reality and like everything has to match. Like there's like an element of realism to it that then pulls me out of it, ironically. This movie is like, fuck you, I'm opening with a grenade that only blows up someone's head. And I was like, you know what? All right, I'm game.
I don't know if Chopping Mall was trying to be realistic, though. Was it?
I think they're based in a reality.
Like a real world setting.
But with a like crazy premise. Like even Death Spa, like it's, what if the spa came to life? Like I understand it's like, I think John wants everything to be that level across the board as opposed to trying to mix and match.
Also, these actors are bad actors, but in a very enjoyable way. In like Death Spa, they were just regular bad actors. Where I was like, oh, this is tedious. It's sometimes
which I appreciate
tedious.
more. It's like The Room. I love that everyone was trying so hard. Yeah. It's just like, oh, y'all are so bad, but this is supposed to be so serious.
Maybe those movies have a level of we at least took an acting class before we started filming.
That's it. By trying to hit at least the bare level of professionalism, it makes me think like, okay, I expect the bare minimum of professionalism. Evil Ed is like, we're really aiming more for like a high school play level. And I'm like, all right, that is what I'm going to grade you against.
Guys, I traded some booze for this camera.
Yeah.
Let's make a movie.
Like, all right, I dig that's, I could see like Evil Ed is something that like a bunch of friends in college put together. Like, all right, I like that, you know? Whereas Death Spa is like, you know, a real company tried kind of hard and failed.
I'm a real boy.
I wondered, after Evil Ed was picked up for distribution around the world, did it make the list of video nasties and immediately banned for viewers?
I don't know.
I don't know. I honestly think that maybe this got picked up because of its, I don't know, how do I say
Awesomeness.
this?
Yeah, I think so. Distributors watch this. Probably a
know.
bidding war, I assume.
There's certain things that get like distribution based off the like, oh, it's so offensive, or oh, this was never supposed to see the light of the day, or oh, this is like so controversial. I feel like this movie got picked up and became like cult favorited as it is, just based off the whole like the myth behind it.
It was aired. It was premiered at Cannes.
That's impressive.
Somehow.
Like, well, to Garrett's point, it's like, oh, the CEO's son made this movie. Like,
Oh yeah.
I feel like there's a lot of like, you know, like if the message behind it wasn't there, this would never have seen the light of day the way it does, the way it had.
I assume it got a standing ovation. And
35
probably,
minutes.
Yeah, and some like wreaths or whatever. You know, they
A gold medal.
yeah, whatever they give at Cannes. You know, they throw Hershey kisses at the winner.
All right, let's get back
I don't
to
think
this.
you know what the Cannes is.
It's a festival of some kind. I assume there's wreaths, probably a lot of EDM music.
Oh, okay. Now you're just generalizing Europe. Europe loves their EDM.
Well, we're going to edit Mark and John out of this podcast now.
No, hold on. I'm not generalizing Europe. I'm generalizing festivals.
Oh, okay. My bad.
I'm going to insult the right people here.
We'll go to a rave afterwards, have 1 half sausage, 2 half sausage, chocolate cigarette.
Yeah.
Hang out with a techno Viking.
Oh, that reminds me, Garrett. We've started watching What We Do in the Shadows. We're like halfway through season 2.
It's fucking great, isn't it?
The best TV show I've ever seen in my life.
It's so good.
It is hilarious.
Okay. Well, another plug for that program. Okay, so back to the movie.
Evil Ed.
It's not What We Do in the Shadows, but boy.
So the editor blows himself up, and then we cut to our title screen, which I actually really enjoy the title screen. The title screen is so well done. It's very creepy. It has like that real like 90s true horror movie feel to it. Like I was like, oh, this may get serious. No, it doesn't.
Yeah. Edward was fine until he wasn't.
But I got this mixed up with, what was that movie, 967 Evil? I thought this was the movie that was like the sequel or like the continuation of Evil Ed from Fright Night. It was not. I had to look it up because I was a little upset. I was like, this is not Ed from Fright Night.
Unfortunately, it's not the Swedish spinoff of Fright Night.
That would have been awesome, though.
Anyway, where are we in this batshit plot?
Literally 5 minutes.
At the fucking opening title card.
Okay, what happens next?
What happens? Oh, Jesus, what happens next? Great question, Mark. One that none of us can answer.
Well, you meet Sam Campbell. He's being all fucking. He's like a real sleazy businessman, like Garrett said.
No. We cut to the black and white.
Oh, right.
So we cut to this black and white Swedish film that's all like, honey, and this is not dubbed in English at all. It's all like, honey, I'm leaving you. And he's all like, the weatherman said it's supposed to be clear today. Who can you trust? Who can you fucking trust? Nothing is sacred. And she's like, I'm leaving you. And he's like, it's supposed to be clear. And I'm like, what the shit? And
yeah, if you can't trust the weatherman, who can you trust? Though that's it.
Who can you trust? Hubba hubba hubba.
That part
Money,
of the movie kept
money,
me
money.
awake. I was like, who can I trust?
No, nobody.
Yeah. Is it going to rain
Got John on
tomorrow?
the floor curled up like, I don't know.
Questioning everything.
I want to finish that movie.
Yeah, any one of these movies, I would have liked to continue on.
Yeah.
The fever dream should have picked a direction. So we basically then cut to Ed, who is editing this black and white film, and then puts it in the can. And then his boss calls him in and is like, Ed, can you come in here? That was the guys from the gore and blood department.
Splatter and Gore department.
Splatter and gore
Which
department.
we really missed out. This could have been the Splatter and Gore podcast.
No, the Grave Talk is so much cooler sounding.
I bet that's taken.
Oh, I'm sure it
bet
is.
it's taken.
Yeah. So Splatter and Gore podcasts up. Good name.
What's up, guys? So basically, as if they were professional basketball players, he just sends them to the majors. Like, his boss is like, you're going to Splatter and Gore. And he's like, well, why do they want me? And he's like, doesn't matter. You're going there anyway. So he walks into Scramble's office.
Yeah. Oh, one thing. His boss is also like 7,000 years old.
It's true.
It was a very old. It was the director's dad.
Yeah.
Speaking of 7,000 years old, did you see like the 90-year-old woman carrying the cans across
Yes.
the moment I saw that, I was like, oh, this is genius. Like, I thought it was going to be that level across the whole movie. This person, through the entirety of this conversation, is slowly scooching across the screen, like tiptoeing through the fucking flowers, man. It was so crazy. He goes up to Scramble's Splatter and Gore department, and he walks in. There's a bunch of ladies in tight dresses. There's 3 of them sitting on Scramble's lap. He's, grabbing asses, and he's like, I don't care. Get me 3 more bloody severed limbs. I gotta go. And then he's like, Ed, I'm gonna need you to work for me.
This depiction of 90s business is pretty much what John sees the 80s as, with his cocaine-fueled nightmare stuff that he thinks
This
the
must
80s
have been
was.
one of the earlier film scenes, like 1991-ish. Still had that 80s
yeah.
hangover, because that's definitely what it felt like. And he's like, oh, fucking Loose Limbs. It's a big one. It's the biggest. But fucking Europeans want their movie cut, so we need you to edit it. Also, there's no space for you here, but there's a house you can go edit in.
He
good
has
luck.
an extra house. It's like, I have an extra house on the edge of town. You can go edit there. And I was like, okay.
Yeah, it sounds like Ed. He's just Ed. He's not evil yet. Boring Ed. Really got a sweet gig. Work from home. He's like, he's got
Work from a home,
and he gets to watch horror movies all day.
Now describe Ed to us so the listener knows what kind of personality this guy has.
Like a wet blanket.
like a piece of white toast.
Yeah.
Straight-laced, doesn't watch anything outside of his dramas that he's been editing, I guess.
I assume favorite hobby, watching paint dry. It's really thrilling. What part's going to dry first? He doesn't take bets. That's a little too much. But he mentally...
Is he a married man or is he dating
He's
someone?
married.
He's married
He's got
and has
kids.
a kid somehow.
Okay.
The kid looks the same exact age as the wife, though.
Yeah.
Like,
I
But
can
no, she looks like someone who had old makeup put on her. And she still looks 17.
the kid?
the wife,
The
both of them. I can only assume it was an arranged marriage because I can't see how these two ever got together. Oh, number one. And number two, not a lot of chemistry there. They only have 2 scenes together. One's a phone call where Ed explains beaver rape, and then she's tasing him.
Oh, I love that moment. So we do also get through like context clues of the phone calls and the wife and stuff like that, and her dialogue, that they're very, I don't want to say pious people, but they're very kind of like morally straight-laced, very much like, they had like religious songs playing in the background, like, like Amazing Grace and stuff like that.
Ed could have stepped out of a 50s sitcom.
Oh, yeah. Really Happy Days type situation. I felt bad for Ed in that scene, though, because his wife calls. So he takes the job. He goes to the house. He's doing some editing. And his wife's like, hey, I haven't seen you in a while. He's like, yeah, you won't believe the shit that are in these movies. And she's like, well, tell me about it. He's like, no, you really don't want to know. It's going to gross you out. She's like, stop talking to me like I'm a kid and fucking tell me. He's like,
you
all
are a
right.
kid.
Well, yeah. He's like, all right, well, I just edited a scene where a beaver rapes somebody and then she shoots someone with a bazooka. And she's like, that's so gross. Why would you tell me that?
How dare you?
Yeah.
It's like, bitch, you
What?
just told me to tell you.
told-
That upset me too.
Yeah. I was
You
like,
asked for it, damn it.
oh, I've had that conversation, Ed. I totally feel you.
Both of you are married. Did that hit really close to home,
Yeah.
fellas?
Every time I bring up beaver rape,
Yeah.
I get shut the fuck down.
Why are you even asking about it then?
Honey, you knew what my job was when I took it. Yeah, so he gets an earful from that, and then she's like, "Are you going to be home for your daughter's birthday, which is in 2 weeks?" And he was like, "Yes, I'll be there on the dot. I won't miss it. I promise." Guess what? Spoiler alert, John.
Yeah. He hangs up and forgets that his dog even has a daughter. He's like, well,
No, he doesn't. He remembers, but he misses that appointment. Man, I set you up. I fucking softballed that in there, and you're like,
the guy doesn't remember shit. He's busy editing horror movies, okay? I knew he wasn't going to... Schrodinger's fucking birthday party. I knew he wasn't going to make that shit. Why even bring it up? It was irrelevant.
So let's rewind a little bit and talk about Ed's coming psychosis after being exposed to the horror.
For like 15 minutes. It's like day one. He sees one beaver rape, and his mind just snaps.
Can we talk about Loose Limbs?
I fucking love this.
So this movie studios, big property, is this franchise called Loose Limbs. They're working on 8 of them, and 5 is just coming out.
Seven of them.
Sorry. Very
Get your
important.
fake numbers right.
Loose Limbs
that up.
8 is a meta after credit scene, guys.
Oh, see, I didn't
yeah.
even know that happened.
Yeah, Ed is one of the loose limbs.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, it's
Really?
wild. No, I don't know. I didn't see it.
So think of like The Conjuring for Blumhouse, right? This is the loose limb trajectory has just skyrocketed profit for
Yeah.
this company, right?
You could also say Friday the 13th also.
Well, I don't know the name of that company. I do know the name Blumhouse. So
Okay,
I gave
fair enough. All right.
Or a Paranormal Activity, if you will.
yeah. New line,
Sure. So what is some of the stuff this guy is looking at? He's loose limbs, obviously,
Yeah.
being removed from bodies.
So I assume a prostitute. Maybe it's just a regular girl.
Prostitute,
Comes
bro.
up to this-
Straight up prostitute. We
to
can
this-
smell our own.
You prostitute.
Takes one to know one, and I knew her. So she goes to this guy in the like in a parking garage, and she's like, "Hey, do you want a taste?" He's like, "I mean, obviously yes." And she's like, "Yeah, me too." Gets naked, and then he's like, "Fucking tricked you," and then just chops her hand off. But it takes like 50 chops. It's really
Mark,
into it.
would you like to describe this guy real quick, though?
He's like a trench coat wearing like
long hair, greasy hair.
He looks like Jack Nieper's sidekick from the fucking Batman.
Yeah. And he's like, he can't talk without spitting on himself. He's supposed to be a creepy, like, pervert, meeting in a garage to basically hook up with a prostitute.
Trench coat wearing, the whole 9 yards.
And doesn't she say something like, "Don't you want a piece?"
Yeah.
And then he's like, "Yeah, I'll take the limb. I'll take the arm." And
Oh,
she's
does
like,
he?
"Wait, what?" And then he
See,
chops her arm off.
And that effect was awesome. It was really bad, but in a great way.
Yeah, he like takes a little weird axe knife and like chops her arm off. That was when I was like, oh, we might actually be in for a legit like FX like treat here, because when he's hacking into the arm, they do a really good job of showing what it looks like to hack into like meat like that. It's not like a clean cut. It's like a bunch of little like hack marks mixed in, and it's like pieces flipping up. I was like, oh shit, this is pretty gory. And he's getting sprayed with blood, and he's cackling maniacally, and he's getting off on it. And then he does his little leprechaun dance, after he gets an arm, and he's like, and then we cut out and realize that's one of the things that
Ed's working on.
So we get these little like interludes of loose limb scenes cut into the movie without any kind of warning. But then we're supposed to know that these are the scenes from the movies that we're seeing that he's working on.
Right. And Ed is so heavy-handed with the editing. It goes from like, "I'm going to take the whole arm. Wait, what?" And then it's just the guy covered in blood gleefully doing his leprechaun dance.
Yeah, it was great.
So all of that in between is just chopped out by Ed. I can't believe that they would take a new guy, put him on a project, and then not supervise what he's doing, especially if this is the Conjuring, quotations mark, dollar sign that the company is producing.
But according to Johan, that's just how they did it. He said they weren't subtle cuts. They were just chopping out whole sections of the movie. So maybe this was an accurate representation, or maybe it's a little satirical, but maybe it's like a representation of what it was really like.
But I wasn't watching this movie thinking that the Swedish censor board was involved in any way in the plot. You know what I mean? He said, "We need the explicit shit cut out," Mr. Scramble stuff.
Yeah.
So to burn through some of this real quick, basically we're introduced to Nick, who's this kind of like, I want to say like intern, late teen type kid who loves these movies. He loves Loose Limbs. He's like your standard horror fan.
It's like your 90s stoner cliche.
Yeah,
pretty
he's
much.
having fun with it. He's got a girlfriend named Mel. They're watching these films, but he's the one that's responsible for taking the film cans to where they're supposed to go. So he's responsible for taking the movies to Ed out at the house and, have him, edit the latest Loose Limbs. He ends up taking some cans out to Ed, who's already kind of snapping a little bit. He's hearing voices from scenes in the movie. He's seeing characters yell at him like, "Don't fucking look at me," or some weird thing like that. I think that was one of the lines.
Yeah, he says that multiple times.
He sees the old lady in the house across the way come out to take her trash out, and she's super old. Then she turns around, and then she turns back around, and now she's like some like late 20s, early 30s, like blonde or whatever. And
I think it was the prostitute from the movie he was editing.
Oh, yeah, I think it was. And then she like just drops her clothes and starts rubbing her tits. And she's like, "Do you want some of this?" And then he's like, whoa, what? And then he like snaps out of it. And the old lady's looking at him like, what are you looking at? And then he runs back inside. So anyway, we get an idea that he's kind of losing his shit from editing all this stuff and being exposed to the intense sex and violence of these movies. So then Nick is supposed to bring out some cans. Scrambles is like, how come you haven't done it yet? And he's like, I forgot. And he's like, you better do it. And this Scrambles is your standard, like, you know, hot shot 90s movie studio guy. He's gonna like, you know, he's commanding people and he's a real Harvey Weinstein, if you will. Yeah. So Nick goes out and then drops off the films. And at this point, Ed's kind of out of it. I would say at this point he's made the switch to evil Ed almost.
No, he's close.
He's like,
he beats up Nick at this point.
No, not yet. The first time Nick comes by, he drops off the cans. He's like, "Oh, it's Loose Limb 7. This one's great." And he's like, 90 minutes of condensed sex and violence. You call that a great movie?
Oh, like, yeah.
Yeah, actually, I do. And so Nick's like, "All right, fine, whatever, you dick." And then he drives off, and then Evil Ed. Well, right now he's kind of like crazy. No, crazy is an offensive term. He's mentally disturbed Ed. Yeah. He hasn't gone evil yet.
Well, he's being visited by Bondage Face.
Right.
Or better named Bandage Face.
Right. This is the first time, and Bandage Face is like...
Or Swedish Robert Zadar. I mean, basically this dude's got a weird face.
I liked his design, though. And he's like...
he was cool looking.
What is the message of Bandage Face?
Kill everybody.
Why?
Wait, was that the message?
Yes. Because people are evil.
He said, you've got work to do. And he's like, I know. And I was like, what fucking work does he have to do? Does he ever actually
murder everybody?
Does he explicitly say that, though?
Well, I think he's like, you got to purge the evil people. Is essentially the message. And the evil people is everyone who's not Evil Ed, ironically.
Which is weird coming from someone like Bandage Face or Bondage Face, who like clearly is a horror villain, you know? Like,
right.
I don't know if you're always like super like, I have to clean the earth. I'd be like, let me listen to this demon here.
He's like,
he's more like, where's Captain Planet?
Right? Yeah, he's our hero. Bondage Face is like, Ed, you've seen these movies. Look what people are making. People want to watch this shit. So you better get out there and kill them before they could see this and turn violent themselves. And Ed's like, you know what? That makes 100% sense.
That tracks.
Yeah. Logic is impeccable. So I better start murdering.
I better skedaddle.
Yeah, I gotta get out. I got a lot of killing to do.
So who's his first victim?
His first victim is Nick later, though. No.
He beats the fuck out of Nick because at this point he's kind of...
He beheads somebody.
Right. Scrambles is his first victim.
Yes.
Yes,
because Nick comes in. Nick,
Bondage Face,
you're right. He
leaves.
sees the fucking hand in the trash can.
Yeah,
okay.
Right. So he sees Bondage Face. He goes to bed. He then hears a bunch of sounds and he wakes up and he's like, all right, I got to check this out. So he's creeping downstairs. He's all paranoid. The sounds are coming from the fridge. He opens the fridge and there is a dollar store gremlin.
No, give that gremlin a little more
it's
credit.
Awesome. I like it.
It's like a mix of Gizmo and a gremlin put together. It's got a weird little like goofy voice.
Like wings for ears. It's pretty enjoyable.
Fuck you, man.
He doesn't seem too terribly freaked out. He's a little more like kind of like, well, what's this doing in my fridge? As opposed to, okay, what the fuck?
Well, there's a little like playful actions going between him and the gremlin thing, like where it's opening and closing the damn
door,
refrigerator door.
Peekaboo.
Yeah. And then he finally grabs like a table knife and walks around and swings open the door and starts stabbing the air.
Except he stabs like a tub of mayo or some shit like that.
Clearly this is in his mind.
Right.
Except then he steps back over and goes like, oh, it was in my mind. And then little gremlin face like looks out of the fridge like, I'm still here. And you're just like, what the hell is going on?
And then in classic Sam Campbell power move, he shows up at Ed's house at like 3 a.m.
Yeah, okay. The time of day when this movie takes place is no fucking sense because there's a phone call between Scrambles and Ed where he's like, I'm going to come over in the morning, Ed. I need to check on your work to see how their things are going. And then he shows up at the dead of night.
Yeah.
Well, it's probably like 3 a.m., which is a morning technically.
Technically,
the
right.
witching hour.
Dude, you don't get to be Scrambles by waking up at, you wake up at the crack of dawn. Scrambles sets his alarm for 2:30 a.m. so he can get to his people's house.
But the
well,
other
maybe
problem,
Sam was like, I'm going to go in the morning. And then like he woke up in a cold sweat. And he's like, oh my God, what if he edited out my beaver rape scene? I got to go now.
I wish that scene was in the movie because I would have loved that.
Yeah.
But also another issue with the time of day sequence issue is that when it's that girl's birthday party and it says like 4 o'clock on the clock, and then it's like dead of night.
Well, Sweden, very north.
Very, very north.
It's like a 30 days of night type thing.
Are you just making that up?
100%. But it works. So there's actually no daylight that whole movie.
Oh.
Yeah.
It's complete darkness.
Yeah, it's just various shades of dim during this time of year in Sweden.
Scramble shows up and is all like, let me see my movie.
Well, Ed's like nailing the door shut because he's like, all right, this gremlin needs to stay. And Scrambles comes and is like, makes no comment. He just sort of steps under the boarding. And it's like, you'd think you'd be like, Ed, what are you doing to my house?
To be fair, he watched a dude blow himself up with a grenade literally days before. So I feel like he's kind of like, meh.
Maximum chill.
This is cool compared to what just happened. So
then Sam scolds him about cutting out the beaver rape. He's like, I can't believe you left that. And Ed's like, that's pretty explicit. And he's like, it's a fucking beaver, Ed. Leave it in the movie. And then suddenly, like, the devil appears.
Well, no, he's seeing Sam become a demon with horns.
It's incredible. It's a cool demon.
We're talking Tim Curry from Legend, but white instead of red.
Yeah, giant, massive headpiece of these horns. Crazy.
If you're going to be a demon, you want big horns.
Yeah.
Yeah.
His voice starts changing. Ed starts freaking out, and apparently there's a giant dungeon under this house, or at least in his mind, there's a giant dungeon that this demon is now chasing Ed through, which in reality, or the movie's reality, is just Sam going, Ed, are you okay? What's going on?
And yeah, then Ed sort of does run into the basement, and I guess Sam is like following him, like, oh, this is weird. And Ed's like, I'm going to have to kill this demon. And he stabs the demon, and shockingly, he actually killed Sam.
Well, he breaks his neck. He grabs the horns and twists his neck.
Right,
so
right.
he kills Scrambles by like breaking his neck.
Yeah, that's right. I forgot that. I assumed it was a stabbing. A lot of stabbing in this movie. So.
There is some stabbing later, but yeah. So at this point, so then he chops up the body to the classic dim bones, dim dry bones.
No, it's not Alice in Chains.
No, it's honestly
the head bones connect to
this
your
sound.
Yeah, that was great.
Slapped. Okay,
that was great.
And that's how I know about the after credits scene, because I couldn't turn the credits off because I was like, what is this song? And I'll tell you about the whole credits scene.
They started playing the song and I was like, all right, you really like this tune.
No.
I was like,
about halfway through the song, it cuts and goes into this weird fucking garbage, like Euro techno, like, it's time to party. Ba, 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 ba.
Told you there'd be EDM.
And then at the end of that song, that's when we get the voiceover. It's all like, it's over for now, but tune in more when Ed comes back in Loose Limbs 8. And then they show a Loose Limbs 8, like, title card, and then it cuts away.
Oh, so it's like a James Bond thing, right? Evil Ed will return in Murdering Her Majesty's Secret Service.
Yeah, exactly.
Wait a minute. I thought he worked for the Queen.
But yeah, so he kills Scrambles, puts his body in the trash can, cuts him up.
It's safe to say now he's Evil Ed. He has transitioned. He, like a butterfly out of a cocoon, he is now Evil Ed.
And the next poor person to come visit is
Sam.
Nick.
No, Nick. Yeah, I don't know. Sam's dead.
bro.
They just killed Sam.
Sam's dead, baby. Sam's dead. Because Nick comes in. Nick brings him Loose Limbs 7. Because before he brought him Loose Limbs 6, he brings him Loose Limbs 7 at this time. And he's all like, I'm glad you're here. I want to thank you for bringing me the best films ever. Here, have some coffee. I'm real thankful for what you're doing. And then at this point, Nick's like, yeah, bro, I got to go. This is kind of weird.
At first, Nick was like, yeah, I will have coffee. You got any sugar? And then when Evil Ed didn't have any sugar, classic evil move, Nick was like, who doesn't keep sugar? This is some weird shit.
No. It's when fucking Ed puts his tongue into the scalding hot coffee like a fucking lizard and goes, it's hot. And Nick's like, all right, I gotta go.
No sugar and this? No, I don't think so.
You're a mammoth.
No thanks, Turkish. I'm sweet enough. So at this point, he's like, I gotta get out of here. And then at this point, Ed's like, you're not going anywhere. Bam, 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 starts beating the shit out of fucking Nick. Like, he's on the ground and he's saying one-liners from the Loose Limbs movies. He's beating the hell out of Nick to a bloody pulp. And I thought he killed Nick at first because we don't see Nick after that. Because at that point,
forest, we see him escape.
Later on, though, but at this point, we don't see what happens to Nick.
Nick gets up off the ground in a pool of blood. And like Garrett, I thought he was dead. It was like, there's no way that guy survived that.
According to the trivia, he was supposed to. Evil Ed was supposed to like suck his brains out with a vacuum cleaner.
Oh.
Wow, that
but
would've been cool.
then they added the hospital stuff, I guess, and they had to rewrite the fact that he was alive so he could be at the hospital at the end.
Well, he's the protagonist of the last half of the movie.
Yeah,
That would've-
Which threw me for a loop. I did not see that
Unexpected.
coming.
Yeah.
What happens when you don't have a script?
Yeah, yeah. You know, it is true. He does really heal up quick from the ass kicking that he got.
He's in the bed with the, he's got the IV connected to his
Yeah.
arm. He's barely moving around. All of a sudden
IV's
he
connected
rips
to
that
the
sucker.
arm bone.
That's the deep cut of that.
Yeah.
Scene. But he rips that. Don't ever rip an IV out like fucking Nick
No.
did. That would hurt like a motherfucker.
Big
But
time.
And he gets up and he runs around, and all of a sudden he's a badass. And it's like, bro.
Vanessa was like, that needle's not out of his hand. I was like, no shit.
Yeah, he broke that sucker off in the skin.
So he beats the shit out of Nick, and then his wife calls.
Because he's missing the birthday.
Right.
He's beating the hell out of Nick and he like takes the phone off the hook and he's like, it's for you. And he like starts smashing Nick in the face with the handset.
No. I think that was the robbers.
Oh, the robbers come next?
Oh,
yeah. The robbers do come
They
next.
come as he's like beating up Nick.
So another point of the movie, I was
Oh,
like,
yeah, I
makes
forgot
no
about this
fucking
scene.
sense. These two guys, the guy with an Uzi and like an automatic like assault rifle,
They're
show
called
up.
crackheads.
Oh, are they?
Yeah, they're like listed as crackheads.
I would have liked to seen their movie that leads them up to the intersection of Evil Ed's.
Did you just say he had a Uzi?
Yeah.
Okay, good. I was going to say, did we notice that he had a fucking
Yeah,
Uzi?
they were armed to the teeth, and I was like, "Is Sweden? Are they allowed to have guns,
Bro,
I don't know.
the first weapon we saw was a grenade. It is wild over there. She's killing beavers with bazookas.
Civilians are allowed to arm themselves with armament from the military.
Yeah, in fact, they don't even lock the armory doors. You just walk in, take what you need, and off you go.
Take a gun, leave a gun.
Just
Exactly.
sign it out, check it back in when you're done.
Like the little libraries, everyone has them in front of their house. You just,
So these guys break into the house, and it's your standard lit by flashlight. Let's walk around in the dark.
it's like all.
But there's got to be some backstory that was left because we know this is Scramble's house.
Yeah.
So I assume that Scrambles did something to fuck with these dudes,
I got
or that
you.
he was targeted for something.
Or they're there to steal loose limbs and distribute it on their own.
Oh shit!
Distribute.
I don't think Nick was the first stoner who was working for Sam, right? So these two people were probably Nick's predecessors, fired. Sam stole their girlfriends because that's how he rolls. Just sexually harassed those poor girls into quitting and leaving the country, and fired the boyfriends. And now they're coming for revenge. They're like, you know what? This is bullshit. Let's fuck Sam up. Go get the Uzi.
Yeah. See, there we go. We just improved Evil Ed. Just
Or
a
there
little
could have
bit.
been no script, and they just said, we need to have him kill some more people. Robbers.
Well, I think it's definitely, especially near the end, you can tell this was a, you know what would be cool type of movie?
Yeah, let's just roll with whatever ideas we have left to do. So yeah, these guys come in and Ed just makes short work of them.
Yeah, and this is like our first inkling that now Ed has superpowers.
of the first guy, because the other guy outside with the Uzi is just sitting there jamming on his Sony fucking Walkman.
Yeah, I can't hear a thing as the guy's screaming in blood curdling sounds.
Yeah, headphones were not that good in 1995.
No.
Definitely not. So how does he take this guy out? Like you said, is this the one that gets the phone beaten into his face?
He's got a shotgun.
The first guy didn't get his like beat with the shotgun.
Because he tries to shoot Evil Ed, and it's like click. And it's like fuck,
that's
dud.
it gets him in the face, right?
Yeah.
He kind of shreds his cheek a little
A
bit.
little bit, but it mostly misses and doesn't work. And then Ed takes the gun and just beats him to death with his own gun.
And then the other guy's all like, what? I think I hear something. He goes inside and he's like, Tommy! Or whatever. Like, I don't remember what the guy's name
Jorgen!
was.
Crackhead number one.
And so he runs in, and that's when he starts getting beat senseless. And then the phone rings. It's the wife. You know, she's at the birthday party. They're lighting the candles on the cake.
There's not a party happening. It's just daughter and wife.
It's the saddest
That
part.
could be a party.
She's like, but my party. I'm like, nobody's there. You're just sitting at the dinner table.
Well, her dad was supposed to be home for her birthday.
Party
so,
of 3.
Yeah, whatever.
Look, if
Crying
you
to
were,
my cake.
If you were
The second draft of Party of 5.
if you were evil Edwina, which is what I assume his daughter was, Edwina, you wouldn't probably have a lot of friends either. Your dad is a psychopath.
He
and
wasn't, though. He
your
was a
mom's like
religious, normal
16 and
guy
a
up
half.
until like just moments ago.
Your mom is the same age as you, and your dad is a serial killer. So
So she misses. So she calls, and then he picks up the phone, and instead of saying something, he starts beating the guy with it. And he has a bunch of like really. Anytime Ed's killing someone, he's got a bunch of like really cheesy like horror movie one-liners that he's quoting from Loose Limbs.
Not only that, but every other horror movie that exists. So that leads me to a nitpick for a movie that should not be nitpicked because it's all nonsense.
Taxi driver, are you talking to me?
Yeah, so stuff like that. Assumably, Ed has never seen any of these films, period. How does he know these lines?
Easy. He's possessed by the horror ghost now.
Oh, he's tapped into the fucking internet.
He's in the horror verse. he's been plugged
gifted.
in, right? He's the one. He's like Neo for horror. That's how he's able to do all this crazy shit because he's killing people left and right. And
That's the only thing that makes sense.
It's only about to get worse.
We got to quit giving John caffeine.
The horror matrix.
Yeah, he's in the Hatrix and and can't disconnect him.
That's the only thing that makes sense because he even says they're coming to get you, Barbara,
Right,
when he's chasing his wife, and you're like, how would he know that line?
His wife calls and is like, I just want you to know you're the biggest disappointment of for all disappointments, you are the biggest that has ever happened to Sweden. You're disappointing me and your family and your daughter and yourself and the country
But
and
he
the
doesn't
world.
hear any of this because he literally smashes the handset over this dude's face, and she's like, "Ed, is that you? Are you there? Hello?" And then she's like, immediately hangs up the phone, goes and blows out the candle on her daughter's birthday cake. The daughter runs back out like, "I'm excited to blow my candle out," and she goes, "Get your coat. We're going to find your dad." The daughter's just like, "What?"
But my party.
I didn't berate him enough on the phone. I got to go tell him this shit to his
That
face.
daughter, I felt so bad for her in this movie. I was like, what a shit situation to be in all
There was
around.
no reason to take her on that road trip.
No, she could have party of one. She could have finished. She didn't even get a slice of her own cake.
Mom, you go. I'm going to eat this cake by myself.
Yeah, probably melting. It's like an ice cream cake. She's gonna come back to a puddle.
That would have been a better experience than what she goes through here in a minute.
Well, that's true. So Barbara goes and she's like, "All right, kid. Now that I dragged you all the way over here, I want you to just stay in the car. You can't see your dad right now I just sense it."
Classic deadbeat parent behavior.
Right. So then she goes in, and Ed is busy being evil, and he's gonna tase her. He's like, where he says, "I'm coming to get you, Barbara." It is so.
Well, no, before she tases him, he's all like, "I see you here. What do you want?" She's like, "You're scaring me." He's like, "You want to fuck? Are you horny, little girl? What's your?" And he starts getting real weirdly sexual with it. And he's like, "You're just here for cock." And it's just like, what the shit is going on? Like, I know he saw Sex and Violence, but we haven't had a lot of sex up to this point. So that came out of the clear fucking blue for me. And then so he starts,
like jams her face into the editing bay, right?
Yeah, he starts beating
watch
the shit out of
he's
her.
like, "Watch this beaver rape scene with a bazooka." And you're just like, what the hell? And then so she's like, "Back off me, you're scaring me." And it's like, at least.
Yeah,
And
you
so
definitely should be scared right now.
then she pulls out the taser and she's like, "Back off me." That's when the daughter comes upstairs and is like, "Mom, Dad, what's going on?" And he's like,
Emmy, what a pleasant surprise. Now we have not only the big bad bitch, but also her little naughty daughter. Come on, come, give Daddy a hug.
So he's saying some evil shit, and when he's being distracted by the daughter, the mom grabs a taser and tases the fuck out of him.
he falls out the window.
Ah!
Yep.
Check.
Yep, that happens.
And then she's like, "Come on, let's get out of here." And they just leave.
Yeah, they're like, we had enough of
That's
this.
the end of those characters.
We don't see
period.
them again.
Well, here's why. What the fuck would you do in that situation? Leave.
Go to Switzerland.
Yeah.
Is Switzerland the nearest country to Sweden?
No comment.
No.
Yeah, I think Norway is.
Yes.
Or Germany,
Well,
Denmark.
you don't want to stop at the house next to the murdering house. You want to go at least 2 houses
I think
down.
like Norway and Denmark are like some of the
Yeah,
closest.
okay, fair enough.
But anyway, at
He's on
some
a plane.
point, a little bit earlier, Nick had gotten up out of the pool of blood. You may have mentioned this, but he like runs out and he like stops a car and they take him to a hospital. So that's the end that we saw of Nick from earlier. So the daughter and the mother leave. We never hear from them again because they probably went home and filed for divorce and killed themselves. I mean, I can't think of
extreme.
I mean, after that, who the hell knows what happened to them?
Well, I'll tell
I
you
wish
what-
them the best, but oof.
Here's what
Happy
happened.
birthday as she gets smothered by her mother with a pillow.
She's like, you know what? I blew out your candle. I'm a real fucking shit mom. You just saw me kill your dad. You want some Baskin Robbins? And being a kid, she's like, fuck yeah, I want some ice cream. And they go off and live happily ever after. And as happy as you can in Sweden
At
anyway.
Mr. Robbins Baskin's house.
I think the violence and sex of this movie got to John. He is not himself today. He's like justifying all this crazy behavior. He's like, it all makes sense, guys. Think about it.
Y'all aren't putting the threads together here. You are not seeing the
Shut up,
Hatrix.
Chip. I'm all jacked up on Mountain Dew.
Boys get that syrup in
So
them.
anyway, at this point, they take Ed. They pick up Ed's like shocked body. They take him to a hospital. We're now in a hospital, by the way.
Yeah.
where the final act of the movie will
The
take
best
place.
act.
The 40-minute final act of the movie.
Yeah, there's
this
like-
went on forever.
3 separate movies in this final act.
So Mel shows up and she's busy looking after Nick and his beating. He's in
Yeah.
a bed with an IV. As I
This scene
mentioned
was
earlier.
great. He's like, how do I look? And she's like, you look like shit. And I was like, there you go. Honesty. That's
Solid
important.
relationship. Yeah, good communication skills. And so then Ed's busy like flailing around. They shoot him up with some shit and they're like, this'll knock out a horse. And
Okay, did you not think that female? Oh, one thing that was pointed out, like the orderly had like a big hoop earring, and my roommate was like, "There's no way you would wear earrings that big in a mental asylum. Those shit would get ripped out so quick."
Absolutely.
But they're taking Ed into a room on a gurney, or is it a gurney? I guess it'd be a
yeah,
gurney.
he's like strapped in and
He's in a straitjacket, and then they shoot something into his neck and to calm him down.
it's very ineffectual.
And well, he seems out. And they're like, "Oh, you can take the jacket off of him now." Now that female doctor / nurse, whatever she was, I think she was a doctor. She had a very low cut top on. I was like, "We're gonna see her tits any moment now." Like just from horror movie like 101, I was like, "Those tits are coming out." They didn't. I
Close,
was
though.
shocked. Yeah, it was close.
Dim titties become Ed's spinach. I'm eating me spinach. He fucking crazy's up again.
No, he hulks up, but
He does Hulk up because they take the jacket off him. Then he lifts
seems-
the doctor up by the neck.
yeah, but to go back, hoop earrings, they don't know what to do with a straitjacket. I don't think this place is a real hospital, guys.
Well, it
I'm
was closed down, guys.
I'm starting to
You think it was the
wonder.
patients? The patients were running it themselves.
Yeah.
Other inmates, yeah, because they don't really. Swedish OSHA needs to go check this place out.
Agreed. No, and nobody knows what they're doing.
Now they're like, you know what? I think why would all the safety? Let's dial this safety down.
Even Mr. Security Guard, I'm like, bro, how did you get this
I
job?
know.
Nobody goes past the tape.
do you not?
That's all he
see
says.
The tape right here.
I thought that was an Ed hallucination because it looked like he was polishing a giant black dildo, and I was like, "Wow, he has fully lost his mind." I was like, "Oh, that's his little like Billy Club thing." So,
He's shining his bobby stick.
but he's shining it in a very suggestive way. I'm sorry, that dude was going full like tips. Twist and
Well,
full shaft rub. I was like,
you gotta
whoa.
keep it shiny, bro. You can't have a dull nightstick.
But I will say that at least the physicians patched up Ed's face after the shotgun blast.
They did.
true,
That was
yeah.
nice.
So they do know how to do a little bit of surgery at
Yeah,
least.
minimal, but yeah.
It's while he starts coming out of his comatose, sedated state. He sees the doctor's low cut shirt, starts going, "Ah, bah, 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 bah," and then he's fucking. He like I said, he fucking Popeyes it up, and then grabs her by
that
the neck.
sounds gonna haunt me.
Grabs her by the neck, lifts her off the ground, and then snaps her neck.
Yes. And while the other two like jump on top of him, he just flings them off like they're fucking rag dolls across the room.
Super strength.
Yeah, Ed has super strength now. That's important for the rest of the movie.
That was my first thing. I was like, where did this come from? Like, where did he get this like supernatural? Was he actually possessed by something, or was it just like
Maybe Bandage Face is like taking him over or something.
I wish when he was like electrocuted on the ground, he got hit by lightning.
Ooh.
That would have been dope.
the origins
John.
Yeah.
of Evil Ed.
So they would have been like a Jason homage, you know? Now he's back as supernatural evil Ed.
Might as well.
Yeah,
There's so many other homages in this thing.
exactly.
So what happens here is Ed gets up, he steals the doctor's outfit, and he's going to walk his way through this place, killing and just doing the Lord's work, if you will. And then eventually the military shows up, and they end up in this giant showdown where he takes out the military. And we'll talk more about some of these scenes in just a second, but I just want to burn through this plot real fast. So the military shows up because evidently the security guard called them. They have this whole like Western shootout type situation.
Like a quick draw scene.
There's like even Ennio Morricone like type music playing.
And Ed does dodge the bullet like Neo in the Matrix. He just is like,
yes, he
moves
does
aside.
dodge a bullet.
I'm telling you, he's the horror one.
Are you the first person to ever say the Hatrix? 'Cause if
I have
not,
no
we need to
idea.
I
fucking
don't
coin
think
that.
so, but I like it. I like it a lot.
I assume so. I'm going to
Google
say
it.
trademark Grave Talk podcast, Hatrix.
Yeah.
But yeah, so and then through all this, eventually Nick, because he kidnaps Mel.
Yeah, he sees Nick and Mel making out, and he's like, oh, this is fucking again. He storms in there, and he's like, do you not know? I tried to purify this dude. I beat the shit out of him, and now you're here making out with him. Way to fucking
Getting
go.
them all horned up
Yeah.
because Nick grabs Mel's ass, which, let's be honest, okay, I get it.
But how Puritan is it to blame the woman?
Oh, that's true.
You know what I
Very
mean?
Puritan.
Very evil, if you would say.
There was something called the witch trials, Mark. I hate to break it to you.
Put a scarlet A on that Mel's jacket.
So he's like, all right, well, I'm going to have to kill you now. But instead, he kidnaps her.
Yeah.
And he's like, I'll kill you later.
I'll kill you
What
later.
purpose?
Murdering. He's like, I'm going to save her this. First, I think it's because this is when the army comes. So he's like, all right, I'm going to kill you later. I got to go take care of these buffoons first.
So he takes out the army guys, and that general is fucking wonderful in everything he does.
And I do need to say, and this isn't directed at Evil Ed, it's just cinema in general. I'm so fucking tired of these trained military professionals not being able to shoot the broadside of a barn.
It is ridiculous. Ed's not even really moving. He's just like, the bullets are just...
Where was this level of critique during Aliens, Mark?
Well, they kill a lot of
shoot a
aliens.
lot of
yeah,
aliens
a lot
in
of
that
aliens
movie.
do
But
get
not the
murdered.
broadside of a barn. So
Yeah,
anyway,
the xenomorphs are putting up a barn in the back of LV 348.
Ed takes out the military. Then he's going to he's got Mel strapped down. And now at this point, he's going to take a giant metal pole and stab her through the chest with it.
Well, it's one of the IV bag stands.
Yes,
right?
it's the metal pole from that. And he's going to jam it through her. And he does. He jams it through her in his mind.
Right, which I thought was like, oh, he fucking took her out.
And
But
then Mel
it's-
pops up as a vampire. She's like, you think that can stop me? Man! I'm just like,
Gotta
what
be
the-
wood, dick.
Yeah, and like I was like, wait, what? Is she dead? Is she not dead? And then you cut back to reality where Nick has picked up one of the military guy's shotgun, kicked open the door, and right as Ed's about to really stab Mel, because evidently he saw it in his head first. Fucking weird. Nick's like says something like
Rest in pieces.
yeah, rest in pieces, and then shoots his hand off, and then shoots his elbow off, and then shoots his head off. And
These
it's
were
like
very good effects, by the way.
all
Totally.
the effects in this movie are really well done, so no complaints about that. It was a little bit. I was like, "Ooh, God, that's rough." But at this point, Ed's dead, and that's the end of the movie.
The end.
But let's talk a little bit about the army dude. And in particular, I just loved his whole character of like, move, 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 go, soldier, get out there, kid. You know, like
Yeah.
all these kids are getting wiped out. Like Ed is all of a sudden a badass with a fucking Uzi because he takes one off of one of the dead soldiers he got,
Yeah, he Rambo's it.
wipes him out, and then, as Garrett said, they have a cowboy standoff where they're literally taking their time. Ed's taking his like medical gloves off.
Him and the general. Ed and the general.
Yeah, the general who had the shotgun. And he takes that cigar and he lights it with two lighters. Yeah, I was like, what is this character is so over the top.
I got
love
you.
him.
Because when you have that much of a badass cigar, you need two lighters.
Jesus
Because
Christ,
one
John.
lighter is not going to put the heat necessary to illuminate or to ignite, rather, the just sheer macho level cigar that this guy had.
You're right. The testosterone
just-
requires two lights.
Oh, obviously.
We should just edit these out and then like do a quickie with John's like excuses for everything that happens in every movie.
But but he gets the better of the general, the guy who's the seasoned vet, if you will.
Yes, he somehow misses with the shotgun from like
He's
4
seasoned with
inches away.
paprika.
Yeah, I don't know if anybody knows how a shotgun works, but it's a spread blast.
Yeah.
And that whole blast just goes right by him, maybe nicks him in the arm a little bit.
And he just pissed that off. That's all I did. He's like, oh, are you fucking kidding me with this? And the general also can't believe. He's like, how did this happen to me?
As he's dying, he goes, good shot, kid.
Yeah.
And then falls over dead.
That's how you die like a man.
That was fantastic.
Loved it.
So then we get credits. Then we get some couple songs that don't really slap, but They slap compared to what we just saw.
And then we get the after credit scene.
I'm going to speak for John and say this soundtrack does not slap in the least. It absolutely sounds like a Casio keyboard picked up from a pawn shop in 1988.
Well, the song when he was cutting up the body slapped.
Them bones.
Yeah, them
The knee bone
So that's going to
connected
be
to
my
you.
ringtone from now to eternity.
And it's the religious one too. It's not like the fun like Halloween one.
It's very creepy.
Yeah.
It's weird.
So, but I agree. Yeah, the 2 thumbs down on the soundtrack in general.
Well, that is Evil Ed, all the way from Sweden. And we made it through, and we already kind of did our takes on it at the beginning. But
Yeah.
I would recommend it if you're into horror movies and bad films. John finds it enjoyable. I thought it was fairly enjoyable, just frothing nonsense, though.
Yeah.
It is frothy nonsense. And as someone who does love some good nonsense cinema, I mean, if you have a hankering for this kind of thing and you love just bizarre Looney Tunes over the top shenanigans on film, student film, badassery, cool. Check out Evil Ed. If you're looking for like quality horror,
Check out Evil Ed.
I couldn't recommend it as well, but
Well, listeners, other than Johan, who recommended, have you seen Evil Ed? Why don't you let us know on our social media? We got a Twitter, an Instagram, and a Facebook account. You can find all things Grave Talk related at thegravetalk.com. And also, we have links to our social media there. So you don't have to go search. You can go straight to our website and go there.
one-stop shop, baby.
One stopping. Until next time, I want you all to be safe out there. Don't get the COVIDs. And we'll be back next time. See you then.